Welcome to Paranormal Gateway Paratalk. I am the host, Scott Wise, and joining me tonight as a special guest is Heather Leigh, PhD, a paranormal investigator and author. Heather Leigh started her journey in the paranormal field as a teenager after multiple interactions with her grandfather who passed away many years prior. Throughout the years following, she has researched and traveled to locations in order to learn more about the history of paranormal claims. She holds a doctorate in philosophy and metaphysical humanistic science, specializing in paranormal science. She is a certified paranormal investigator, certified EVP Technician. Her goal is to help others take a more scientific approach to paranormal investigation and research. She is a member of the International Paranormal Bureau of Investigations and Research and ParaNexus Anomalous Research Association. She is the author of articles and books. Has their most recent books, Haunted Southern Nevada Ghost Towns, Ghosts and Legends of the Vegas Valley, and Haunted Florida Lighthouses, as well as a lecture about all things paranormal. She's a co-host and content contributor for Touch of Magick, a podcast about magic and the paranormal. She's also a founder for Aspiration Paranormal and co-founder of Witches Paranormal Society. She has been featured in documentaries including Real Ghost Hunts, or Real Haunts Ghost Towns, and Real Haunts 3, produced by Motion Picture Video. She's also featured in the season premiere of Ghost Adventures Lake of Death. Without further ado, let's welcome Heather to the show.
Hello.
Hi. That little mouse, we're going to take a quarter of that. Well, to start off, as a teenager, and had a experience with your grandfather who passed away. Do you want to talk about that? And how old were you when that?
Yep. I was 16, 17-ish, and he had passed away when I was 5. I was there when he passed away. He had a heart attack in the snow while we were outside. I was playing in the snow. He was shoveling. Don't remember too much about it because, of course, the family got me out of there because I was so young at the time. But when I was a teenager, I started seeing him, walking in the hallway, standing at the foot of my bed, sitting in the chair next to my bed. He'd be in the mirror behind me after I'm done brushing my teeth, or brushing my hair. And it intrigued me because he had never lived in that house. We didn't even own that house until many years after he had passed. So he had no connection. And back in the 80s, that's what the theory was. Someone had to have lived or died in a home to haunt it. So that kind of started my path for researching.
Well, that came after you true, though. Yeah, so
exactly.
Anybody could be haunted, any place by anybody, so.
Yeah, but back then, we had to go to the library for the card catalog and the librarian stack of books.
Same thing. Yeah.
Yep.
I see it too. And then you couldn't take so many books out at that time.
Right.
Really?
Yep. It was a matter of how fast did you read.
Yeah. It's sometimes I'll sit at the library for a while and read for a little bit, and then. But yeah, I love libraries, though. There's something like getting a book and reading it from the library, or get a book and reading it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I miss the way libraries used to be, but I still like to go to them now and then.
yeah, or they smell. They have a certain smell to them.
Yes, it's the book smell.
Yeah. Did you ever do the microfiche?
I did. Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
It was.
Yeah.
The ancient computers.
After the high, they have a microfiche machine. They have, oh my god, they have cabinets full of stuff.
Yeah.
We have to go in there sometimes and look through it and stuff.
Yep. Yeah.
But
I know. I think our library has theirs, but it's like back behind closed doors, and you got to request to get to it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, company size, they're big all over out here. Huge.
Yeah.
So it's nice to do it every once in a while. It's just a get away, Of course, I'm always looking for ghost books. That's me, yeah.
Yep.
I like true crime too. I guess from there. But
yeah. Actually, if you like ghost and true crime, have you read Mark Nesbitt's books?
Yes.
Yes.
He was one of my first guests on my show a few years ago.
He's amazing. I love him.
Oh yeah, I love him too. He's a cool guy. I don't know if he had any recent books come out though lately. They haven't checked. But I've always guessed through books. But I don't know if he had a new one. Got to meet 2 Paracons ago. Got to talk to him. I got a picture with him. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got me started. We went to Gettysburg.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. To Gettysburg, I met him after I started seeing my grandfather, and he took the time to answer this, young teenagers' questions, and he was really the force behind what got me started in this.
Yeah, I was kind of lucky because I lived in York, PA almost all my life up till 8 years ago when we got to Ohio, but I was like 14 minutes away from Gettysburg. Okay. So me and the team got to go out in the battlefield a lot.
Yes.
So that was a lot of fun. So,
yeah.
Being that close to battlefield. Well, growing up, I was kind of sick of it because I used to be in the Boy Scouts and I used to go every year, and kind of got tired of it, but or if you're looking for ghosts now. So what motivated you to get your Doctor of Philosophy and other accomplishments you did? What motivated you? Just the fact that you...
It was one of those things where I had been doing a lot of behind-the-scenes research for teams. They would reach out to me to do historical research, and I really never was a part of a team up until probably 10 years ago. And it was just one of those things where I was seeing how teams were operating. There was no organization. There was no structure to the team. And I started Googling and searching for ways to, be more of a professional paranormal team. And I did that tied along with how can you, because at the time I was really big into UFOs too. It was how can you
UFOs.
Yep, how you can research more about UFOs and learn more. And I came across Dr. Kelly. And he's down here in Florida, and he runs the Institute of Metaphysical and Humanistic Science, and also Thomas Francis University. And they all offer, theological degrees, but they have a track that does the actual metaphysical part and the paranormal side. And I just fell in love with it. And it got me motivated. It keeps, because I'm actually thinking I'm going back and studying more with him, because he teaches everything from how to run your team to the science, and being able to learn everything that I've learned and share it with others. That kind of keeps me motivated, because I like being able to help guide people to not so much do what I think is the right way to do it, but to give them the information for them to use their own mind to decide what is right or wrong for them.
Right. Yeah, I thought it'd be pretty cool. Is Dr. Kelly said that?
Yes. Yep. Dr. Kelly. Yeah,
I might look him up.
Look up IMHS is what it's called, abbreviated. And you can
Okay.
find, and it's all online, and it's, you know, it's great. It's not your typical 4-year degree, but it is your theological degree that's backed by the university. And he has a couple different accreditations from, you know, like the American Institute of Psychics and all of that. So it's a great program. If you want to learn more about the paranormal, I suggest people go through that, because you learn everything, not just one aspect.
Yeah, I've checked into that. 'Cause I love that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, they actually have a
Yeah.
track for ufology. So
Yeah. I belong in MUFON out here in Ohio.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been considering that, but I just haven't jumped the gun for that one yet.
Yeah, I did like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Or first, not first out of Ohio, but just about 2 years ago. I moved in here
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago. Yeah, I did. And I actually was on a conference with the guy who runs it out here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of fun. So it's amazing how many UFO sightings they have out here. I wouldn't know. I don't get out enough still because Scotty to find out, you know. But so you also have a certified paranormal investigator and EVP technician. How did you get that, and what is that about? I think I lost you. I can't hear you. Hmm. Hello. Heather has an audio issue. She'll pop in a minute. I was asking her about the Certified Paranormal Investigator and EP Technician.
Sorry
Oh,
about that.
that's all right.
My screen refreshed, and I've been having this problem where when my screen refreshes,
Yeah.
it kicks out sound.
I'd say, well, that was short, yeah.
No.
I'd have to be on 10 more times to get a full show.
Oh no, but yeah, it was.
Sorry.
I'm trying to remember where we were at. The Certified Paranormal. That's it.
Yeah.
Their program. So what it is it's an extensive program that he has as part of his degree program, where you actually go in and study everything from collecting evidence to preserving evidence, running a team, how to be a leader, you know, and also customer service skills so you can take care of clients. And he does it, and it's one of those, you know, I always tell people, you know, you don't need to have it, and it's really, you know, but it's one of those things that it shows that you took the time to get educated and to learn all these things, and that's why he offers that. And then the same thing with the EVP is it was hours upon hours of listening to audio, learning different ways to listen to it, using all the different programs, all the different methods of ITC. And it was just, it was exhausting. I didn't listen to EVPs for several months after I took that training class because I was done. I needed a break.
Right. I've been very fortunate in the years to get some good stuff. I don't mess a lot with them, but I use the Audacity to clean up the noise.
Yep. Yeah, that's the best one that I've used.
Yeah, it's so easy to remove noise from that if you know what I mean. So I used to do Wastepath for a while. That was a good one when it first started off. I used that one, but I recommend Audacity because it's free, you know. So
right, yep, yeah, and it's like you said, the easiest one to use. So and it has more, for being free. It has a lot of features.
Yeah, basically, I mean, basically what I do is just find an area that's the whole thing, select that part, hit noise removal once, and then hit the whole thing back, hit remove, and take it all out.
Yep, yeah. No,
I used it for crickets already.
Okay.
Yeah, it worked pretty good, actually. I hate those things. Look out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Them men look at cicadas. Are all gonna be.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and they get loud.
Hell. Yeah, no. I used to use Adobe Sound Booth, but I got away from that.
Mm. Yeah, I haven't tried that one yet.
So, say a little bit about the International Paranormal Visual Investigation and Research?
That
Is that,
actually is a friend of mine here in Florida. He runs the Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigations. He started, and unfortunately, I need to remove that from my bio just because it's no longer.
sorry. I
Yeah,
know
no,
that.
no,
Yeah.
it's fine. I still promote it because I want him to bring it back. But he wanted to create a group of international investigators that followed the same protocol. We would go into investigations and we had the same, we needed the same equipment, the same, steps. And it was to create a database of, investigations from around the world that followed step by step the way he wanted it done. So that way we could all compare data. And it was very short lived because he only had 2 teams willing to participate.
All right.
So he's kind of put it on hold. But now that I'm back here in Florida, I keep nudging him to bring that back.
Mm-hmm.
So keep your fingers crossed.
Repetition.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So
that sounds a good idea. Yeah.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
and
sort of like. Go ahead.
I was going to say he's a former sheriff's detective, so he uses his, his investigative techniques from when he was a sheriff, and uses that in his investigations. And he taught all of us how to do the same thing.
It's almost like when you're doing EP, have everybody ask the same question.
Mm-hmm.
It
I asked it.
But
right.
you're saying you have to accept this for questions and techniques and equipment used, right?
Yeah, it was mostly the equipment and the techniques and how we gather data. Like, I mean, he wanted proof that nobody was messing with the EVPs or the sound. So you had to have cameras all over the place, making sure you shot.
Okay. All right.
So it was more about collecting the evidence than what was actually said.
Right. And it's kind of tough. I wish that the voice recorders we have now, they're really good, high quality. But one thing I couldn't find was one that they had time zone, but they never could timestamp anything.
Yeah.
My first comment, not exact what time it was, but I always would say, okay, I'm doing the EP session and the service time, and we're here, and
One thing we found, we learned from the documentary film crew that I had worked with, is that once you get all your recorders up and your video cameras up, just have someone clap. And then when you have that clap, count from that clap to see when the evidence happened, and you can pair it up with the video based on that. So
yeah, or you can use walkie-talkies.
That too.
Yeah. Excuse me. Okay, that's one more for you.
No problem.
About the ParaNexus?
Yep. That is almost like an online support group for people who graduated from the Institute of Metaphysical and Humanistic Science. He kind of created this online place that we could all go, and we share our thesis, our theories, and we bounce data. I haven't been to it in months, but I went to it quite often right after I graduated.
Well, you want to start talking about ghosts?
Sure.
Like I said earlier, I love your book so far, and I can't wait to get the next one out is September 11th.
Yes.
And I think if you get in early, you get a signed copy, right?
Yeah, I have several copies here. Actually, I'm telling anybody if they want to, Joe Frankie, who worked with Ed and Lorraine Warren, he wrote my foreword, and I'm going to actually be at a convention with him next week. So anybody who orders their book before the convention directly from me, I'll get him to sign it too.
That the Mid-Michigan one?
No, he's in Connecticut.
What's the conference you're going to next
Oh,
week?
it is here in Florida.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Phantasm.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a horror convention, but they have some of us from the paranormal field come in and talk.
Yeah. I saw it last time. That's
Mhm.
cool.
Yep.
So you're going to do a lecture then?
I
Probably?
have 7 lectures that I'm doing throughout the weekend.
Ah. Okay,
Yeah,
you'll be busy.
I know.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
So is it 3 days? Excuse
Friday,
me.
Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah, 3
Okay.
days.
Okay.
Yep.
That you have to get your book in. So,
Mhm.
got your eyebrow too, so.
Mhm. Yep. Yep. I
Wow.
have plenty of copies, and like I said, I'm going to have him sign it too, and then we'll ship them out the Monday after.
Okay, I was looking at that. Cool. Alright, we'll talk about ghost towns.
Sure.
You have any favorite ones you want to share?
My
There's a lot in there. I mean, there was like, what, 50 of them in there? Something like that. There's a lot.
Yeah, and I didn't even cover them
So,
all.
right, right.
I would say my favorite, just because I investigated there quite often, would be Goldfield.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much activity throughout that whole city. But a close second would be Nelson, just because that was
Yeah.
closer to Vegas than Goldfield was.
Mm-hmm. Wow. You want to tell them stories? What? Like,
I can.
it,
Actually,
it ties our viewers.
mhm. Yep. One of my favorite stories from Goldfield was when we were investigating the Florence mine. My investigative partner and I, we were actually there filming for a pilot that ended up getting shelved because of COVID.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a really good pilot too. We had so much fun filming that. But we were the first team to go in and ever do an investigation inside the mine. And we were inside a mine shaft. And I was like, something told me I had to go back through this little area, and it was collapsed back there to do an EVP session. So, of course, I get on my hands and knees because that's the only space I had to. Not great for someone who's claustrophobic, but
well,
I still crawled back there. And while I was trying to do the I couldn't even get out the words. I felt like I was being crushed. I couldn't breathe. I started hearing men screaming. So we got out of there. The film camera guy and we got out of there. And once I was away from the area, perfectly fine, felt normal. And we learned later on from the mine owner that that particular mine had collapsed with men still in it.
mm,
And to this day, they don't know if they got everybody out. So there could still be bodies, or by now skeletons, still back behind that
right,
collapsed area. So
right.
that was interesting. But that I would have to say that that is my favorite place to investigate. It was nonstop activity from the time we arrived to the time we left. My investigator partner, he went down into a deeper mine with the mine owner's son, and he lost track of time. He got woozy. He didn't, and it could have been a combination of because of fumes or whatever that could be in the
Mm,
ground down there. But when he came out, it was weird. He just didn't know where he was anymore. We saw shadow figures. There was a hangman's noose that the owner had no idea was in his barn.
wow.
It was the mill house. Had no idea it was in there, but we found it because a shadow person was running around the rafters and caught our eyes and brought us up to that noose. But EVPs all weekend long. We had the other guy that I was with. He kept seeing this woman walking through the home because we were actually invited to stay the night in the mine owner's home, and he described it to the guy, and he went into another room, got a picture, and brought it to him. And he's like, "Is this her?" And he's like, "Yes, that's her." And it was the owner before the current owner that he had
Wow.
seen walking around. We would smell kerosene in the house, like those little kerosene headlamps.
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere to be found. I actually smelled roses
Wow.
throughout the house, and they had no flowers in the house. We were trying to figure that out. We were all sleeping, and I was woken up, I would say about 3 a.m. to someone screaming in my ear. I didn't start the fire. And the Florence
Oh,
mine, of course, had 2 fires. The city of Goldfield had several fires that destroyed the whole town. And when I woke up and came, was like fully awake. No one else was disturbed. The other guy I was with, he was sleeping on the floor. The mine owner's kids wanted to camp out with us because they thought it was cool to camp out with ghost hunters. So they were camped out on the floor. Everyone was still sound asleep. And so the only thing we could think of is someone got blamed for a fire and was trying to make it known that he didn't start it. So that was kind of, just, it was nonstop from the moment we got there to the moment we left.
Golly, one song, we didn't start the fire.
I know, exactly. But yeah, so it's, and we're still trying to dive in deep. We haven't found who's been blamed for the fires outside of one fire started in a distillery dispute. But there was no one really named for that. So we're still trying to dig deep, and the mine owner is trying to help us find that information as well.
Yeah, there are a lot of fires back then. I was reading a book, almost everything was destroyed by fires.
Yep.
A lot.
Yep, fire and flood.
Yeah, fire and flood.
Yep.
Yeah. And back then, be like a tinderbox going up because there's no way they can get to it quick enough.
Yep. Yeah, and a lot of the structures were made out of wood or, camp. So it was fabric tents.
Yeah. I saw some in there up for Adobe. Also, some of the houses.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. But I said your Las Vegas book was huge. There's a lot in there, but for Ghost House, any more on that, or you want to go to Las Vegas?
I can share one more story because
sure.
The Nevada Ghost the Ghost Towns book actually came from my husband, my son, and I were asked to work with motion picture video, and we were called in to film Real Hunts Ghost Towns. So we had done all the research on the different ghost towns and everything that we had done. So it was one of those things where a friend of mine, Peter Haviland, who's now passed, he suggested I send in my research to History Press. And that's how the book came alive. But while we were filming with the motion picture video crew, we were in Nelson, and we had gone into an abandoned mine shaft. And I know you had mentioned this before we went live, but we used one of my favorite tools, and it was a fidget spinner. And it was a lot of fun. We were able to, when we were down there, we were seeing shadow figures walking in the distance. We were hearing footsteps. We were hearing pops, but we weren't quite sure if it was the plastic bottles that were down there as trash because people destroyed this mine. And we experimented down there with the fidget spinner, and it was a lot of fun to do that. But that area is known. Nelson, I believe it was Charles Nelson, founded the camp. And the camp was a place where both Northerner and Southern soldiers from the Civil War escaped to. And then they had their own mini Civil War inside the camp. So there was a lot of deaths. People said that, the town was paid for in blood. But it was one of the richer towns because they had so many mines and so much gold. And because it's also named El Dorado in some areas of that for all the gold, from the Spanish settlers that were there. And Avote, I believe, Avote, A-V-O-T-E. He was a renegade Indian who killed Nelson and 3 other camp members. And it's believed that his spirit haunts some of the caves because he's hiding from the people trying to find him for the massacre that he did. And it's also rumored to be haunted by both Confederate and Union soldiers. People will hear gunfire at night. Just so many strange things happen. Just lots of shadow people. And then the other thing that occurs out there that I found interesting was hellhounds have been reported out there. So, yeah.
Wow. Do you hear hellhound either there?
No, we didn't. We didn't.
Too bad, huh?
Yeah, and it's funny. The minute the camera was turned on for filming, we didn't have much activity. But when we turned it off, it was like nonstop activity. So it was interesting. Of course, when the camera's not rolling.
That's right. You say, "We're turning it up now," and don't.
Yeah. You cover up the red light.
We're covering the red light. Yeah, that's funny. Excuse me. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We had investigating.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Got some in my throat. Oh yeah, but oh boy. So let's see what we got here. You want any more ghost hunt stuff? I love ghost hunt stuff.
Yeah, we can go to the Vegas book.
Okay.
I know there's a lot of things there.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that ended up turning out to be more about mob ghosts by the time I was done with it.
Yeah.
So many stories.
Yeah.
I know the Pet Cemetery in Boulder City is where Rin Tin Tin's son is buried. It was never meant to be a cemetery for pets, but it just kind of developed into that, and it's rumored to be a mob dumping site. People have reported seeing an apparition of a cat that will come up and start, purring and running between your legs, and when you go down to pick it up, there's no cat there to pick up. People have seen shadow figures, almost like the Hat Man, but more dressed, a shadow figure that's more dressed like the 1920s mob, the way they were dressed with their trench coats and stuff. So, I mean, it could be the Hat Man, but, who knows? But the one thing that got me interested, was really interesting, is I wish I could remember. There's so many names in my head. Trying to get them all to come out is crazy. But he was associated with Circus Circus, and his spirit is known to haunt Circus Circus. He was believed to be killed by the mob for embezzling money and skimming off the top. And no one knew where his body was. But one of the ghosts that haunts that was believed to be his. After the book published, they found the guy's body in a tin with the receding waters of Lake Mead. It was like, oh, I wish I had that information at the time the book was published. But so that was an interesting one. But one of my favorite places to go, it was, of course, an undisclosed location on the Las Vegas Strip. And with Las Vegas, for those who don't know, the locations don't want the public to know that they're haunted. So they make people sign non-disclosure agreements because they're afraid if people know it's haunted, they're not going to come, because some cultures won't go into a building that is believed to be haunted. But we were in one location. It was a known mob hangout. And it was another one of those where we had activity from start to finish. We, one of the investigators during that one, and this was my favorite EVP to this day, he had said we weren't too far from where Tupac was killed. And one of the investigators just randomly said, wouldn't it have been cool if we could communicate with Tupac? And clear as day, an EVP on the video recorder I have, I'm right here.
I'm reading that.
Yeah, it's like I get goosebumps to this day thinking about that. It's like, is it him or is it another spirit saying, I'm here, why don't you talk to me?
But sorry, messing with that.
Right. So that's always an interesting one. And then there was another one that we had, same location. Something forcibly grabbed my butt to the point where it pushed me forward a little bit. And I just, I was ready to turn around and deck the person who was behind me, but there was nobody there. So I'm like, I'm really glad there wasn't an investigator there.
Swinging the mess.
Right. So after I realized nobody was behind me, I yell, who just grabbed my butt? And one of the girls on the other side of the room had a spirit box, and we hear he, me.
Okay.
Perfect timing. And it's like, oh
boy.
It's like, okay.
Well, it's like, what do you do about that?
Right. But that's how the mob treated the women.
No.
Back then, they were always smacking
like trash.
Right. So that was fun. But some of the amazing stories that I got was when I visited Madame Tussauds. And this came from a lot of the employees there. Several people have seen the spirit of Madame Tussaud. Just this short little woman in almost like a prairie dress type outfit. And she would walk into the elevator. And then when people would run down to the next floor, because there was a staircase that went around the elevator just to see who this person was, there'd be nobody in it. Other people have caught apparitions of, members of the Rat Pack, because Madame Tussauds is where the old Copa room used to be. whole bunch of different things that occur there. I mean, everything from strange noises to strange lights. Of course, haunted bathrooms. Why bathrooms are haunted, I have no idea. But
That's creepy. That's creepy.
right, there's this one bathroom that employees won't go in because the doors will rattle, lights will turn off. I mean, a whole bunch of different things. So that would be one of my favorite places to visit if you want to see a haunted location, because the employees know it's haunted and they embrace it, which is a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, Vegas, the stories are near endless. I mean, I'm even trying to think of, there was one which was, I don't do spirit boxes too often, but sometimes members of I have one when people want to see, you know, like instant satisfaction. But one of the members of the team that I was with, she had a spirit box and we were running a session, and the location was where an old Mormon settlement used to be. And she had asked the question, you know, trying to think outside of the box, you know, who's our current president? And the response we got back, both on the spirit box and separately on audio, was Jeff's.
Yeah.
Yep. And she's like, no, that's not it. And I'm sitting there being me. I researched the place before we went, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm like, if this is an old Mormon fort and they're a newer spirit, you know, more recently, they would believe that Rulon Jeffs, or even if it was like really new spirit, but this place had been there long before Warren Jeffs took over, they would believe that Rulon Jeffs was the president, because that's what the FLDS teaches them. So, you know, in the spirit's mind, they were correct. And I thought that was, you know, and to me, that's why I always tell people, learn the history of the location before you go, so you can respond and react to the questions and answers that you get.
That research is the key to, I mean, you always did research so we couldn't. Certain locations you couldn't get research from. But there were other locations I'll go through a week before we go and take notes and stuff, and just so I know what we need to do. Because you don't know what kind of questions to ask sometimes, and you know, it always helps.
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like to do research beforehand because they don't want to affect their experiences. But I find it, you know, more able to ask questions, because if I hadn't known that information beforehand, we'd have continued telling the spirit that they were wrong. When, depending on the spirit, he could be right.
All right. So their investigators went. They didn't want to know anything about it. But around we all like places you go into there dumb investigations by hundreds of paranormal teams. They often ask you to go in. Do you want to know the hot spots? No. I don't know what. Yeah, I don't want to know, because you'll tend to concentrate on one certain area, and you know, we don't do that. So
and my thing is too is we're never going to advance this field if we keep doing the same things that are over, you know, have been done over and over and over, like seeing all the hot spots. Okay, we know that spot's haunted because 100 other teams found out it's haunted. I want to go where it's not haunted. You know, let me go into this dark basement. Let me go, you know, to floor 9 of your hotel. Let me, you know, do something that other teams hadn't done, because otherwise this, you know, we're just going to be at a standstill if we keep repeating what we've done.
Yeah, send me to where no activity has been reported. I'll go there.
Yep. Well, it was like one of the museums. It was actually in the Vegas book, McCaw School of Mines. I used to volunteer there all the time, and because I published a kids newsletter, so I would volunteer there because they did free tours to high school or to elementary school, and so I'd be there with, you know, kids crafts and kids activities to help them out. And one day I said, hey, let's do something fun for the kids on Halloween. Let's do mock paranormal investigations. And they had never reported any activity there before. So what we would do is we would take tours and just do quick mock investigations, showing them how to do it. And there was so much activity that we collected that it ended up being the location that we would do, you know, regular investigations at, and host several fundraising events to help the museum raise money. And that was a location that had never been investigated before.
It's always fun to go to the ones that were never investigated.
Yep. Yeah, you don't have any outside information.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. I don't think we ever had a place that we went to. I mean, it might not be true. I'm back in Pennsylvania. I went to the old cemetery up in the woods. We got something there.
Mm-hmm.
But, well. Oh boy. Also, there's something about Elvis too that was in
Westgate Hotel. Yep.
Westgate Hotel. Westgate. I couldn't remember it. Westgate.
Yep. Elvis has not left the building in Westgate. He has been seen on stage performing when the theater is closed. He's been seen backstage walking around, and he has also been spotted in his room. So he is still there.
Yeah, I read the Horror's book when who was that? Was doing a tribute to Elvis, and they saw him up on the balcony.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was it? Oh shoot! Yeah,
that was.
I want to say Sinatra, but it wasn't Sinatra. But yeah,
I it was.
I'm like drawing a blank, and
was it Wayne Newton?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, because he would do a lot of different tribute shows for the different different people. Yeah, and a lot of I mean, I know there's Liberace. He's known to haunt not only his restaurant but the parking lot where the restaurant's at, the museum. There's another museum where all of his cars are located at. He's been seen inside his cars. So he's still everywhere. I know people have seen Michael Jackson out there as well a couple times. Red Fox is known to be in his home quite a bit, and people can smell his cigar smoke.
I remember I watched the film from the sun growing up.
Yep.
They did it.
I love that show.
I do. It's so good, man.
And that's funny. I never even realized that, but when he was having his real heart attack, everybody thought he was joking.
I know. I read this book. How awful is that? I mean, I don't think he's breathing for real. Oh, right. Oh God.
I would feel so bad for the people on stage with him.
Well, he said he always goofed about it anyway, off stage too.
Right.
He's a character. Do you ever watch his comedy routines?
Some of them.
Oh my God. He was, yeah. He was something else.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, he was, I love that show. Yeah. Definitely my favorite growing up.
Everything always comes to you afterwards.
Oh, I know.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of what other... Yeah, and the Mob Museum too. That's another one. That one has the Valentine's Day.
Yeah, Bugsy.
Yep. Yeah. Yep, that has that, and that also used to be the former courthouse too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, you have Zach Bagans' museum.
Boy, yeah. There's a lot in the book by him. The stuff he has in there, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
Like he had that ashes of
Is it Ted Bundy?
Is it Manson?
Or no, Manson. It's Manson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has his prison attire and glasses.
Yeah, big ass.
Yeah.
And he got the car from
Kevorkian.
Kevorkian's car.
Yeah.
A van. I think a van, wasn't it?
The van. Yep. And he has Ted Bundy's VW Bug, I think.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. How's he get this stuff? My God.
He has the money and he pays.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
Yep. I know
a friend of mine. I'd love a gal to see it. Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, a friend of mine would go all the time, and he would almost test Peggy the doll. He would just go in
No.
and stare at her.
Uh,
But he hasn't had anything happen, so
yeah, first is luck.
I know. It just takes that one time.
That's right. I think it's a debit box there too.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people who have feel lightheaded around that thing.
Yeah. I found some movies out too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of stuff there. I can't remember all of them, but it's some real weird stuff he has.
Yes. Yeah. And I think his chapter was the biggest chapter in my book too.
Yeah.
With everything he has.
I think he has like fake shrunken heads of some actors.
Okay. Yeah, I've never been in it. And I should have gone in it when I was up there, but I never did.
I don't know if they ever give tours of it online. I would love to see it.
Yeah, I know I think they were thinking about it during COVID, but I'm not sure. I never saw anything come of it. But yeah, I want to do their flashlight tours.
Mm-hmm. You started doing flashlight tour in Gettysburg.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
Yeah, I did one in Charleston, but we're looking at like 25 years ago.
Right. And last time did be like 25 people. I think when I did Mark Nesmith stuff, it was like 10, even if it's just 10 people per one, I think. So I went to 6, but it did. Too bad. So. Yeah. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah, he is.
Nah. So, do you want to give a maybe a preview of your lighthouse one? Not to give it away, just a little.
Yeah, Haunted Florida Lighthouses, of course, comes out Monday, the 11th. And that one, which is the interesting part, is a lot of that book was written from my memory and from my old notes of visiting a lot of these lighthouses. And then I also relied on a lot of paranormal investigators in Florida to help me with it because I was actually laid up with knee replacement surgery during the process of writing it. So, but it was a lot of fun to write because it brought back all these old memories. But it includes everything. You have St. Augustine Lighthouse. Of course, everybody knows that from Ghost Hunters. That one is plagued with paranormal activity. The Pitry girls are known to haunt it. They're the ones who died on property there. But one that I'll give an insight to is I found the most interesting lighthouse, and it's actually a light that's out in the water, and it's the Carey's Fort Lighthouse. This one has been known, they can't find maintenance workers to go out there to work on it. Because anytime someone's outside hanging over the water, trying to fix something, they would see all of a sudden a skeleton in pirate clothing float underneath them. And then it would fade away, not like it sank in the water and disappeared. It would just slowly fade away. And, then they would hear strange noises and of course you're going to have the metal making noises from the waves and the wind, but noises that they'd never heard working on this thing. So that's an interesting one. And then the other lighthouse that I talked a lot about was Fort Jefferson. And that is just off the Florida Keys. And that's where Dr. Mudd from the Lincoln assassination was sent, along with his co-conspirators. Oh. And his spirit is believed to haunt there, along with several others. So there's I think there's over 200 lighthouses in Florida. I think it was. There were a ton of them, but some are only working. No, a lot of them have been either torn down or no longer in existence because of hurricanes. There is actually one in Mount Dora, and that is the only inland lighthouse that I have in the book. It's actually the only inland. It's right smack dab in Central Florida, but it's on a lake. And that one is extremely haunted because Mount Dora is a very haunted town on its own. And then John's Pass, I call it my faux lighthouse. They have this it's just a fake lighthouse, but that whole area is overly haunted. And that's in there as well, including stories of rum runners and pirates. There's a pizza place that has a pirate haunting it, and you can hear his step clomp of his wooden leg walking on the ceiling.
Oh, wow.
While you're downstairs. So there's a lot of fun stories on that one as well.
Which lighthouse is pictured on your cover?
In the book, I'm trying to think, because I just went through and I took the most haunted ones that we had. We have...
How many lighthouses are in your book that you cover?
There are 22.
Wow. Okay.
So, because it has everything from the first 2 chapters, of course, are why our lighthouse is haunted, and then a list of multiple Florida lighthouses. Then we have Jupiter Inlet. That I love going to that place. I go there a lot. Hillsborough Inlet is actually haunted by a barefoot postman. Key West and Seahorse Key, Garden Key, Sanibel Island, Amelia Island. Sulphur Springs Water Tower is actually a water tower that replaced the lighthouse in the area. And then Sand Key Lighthouse is another one that's really good. But there's, like I said, there's 23 that are included.
Wow. Gosh. Did you ever get to a location that the lighthouse was torn down in the investigation?
Not for an investigation, because there was a lighthouse, I think it was the Amelia Island one, that actually was destroyed by an early 1900 hurricane.
Oh, okay.
And then we have one lighthouse, I wish I could remember. I'll remember it when I see the name, but we had one lighthouse that we lost during the last hurricane. I think it was Sanibel. Sanibel Island was like severely destroyed. It was either Sanibel Island or Sand Key, but we lost that after the last hurricane last year.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I haven't been there, but I do know there's several, like Fort Dade used to have a lighthouse, and that place is an old fort, but you can only get to it by boat. And every time we go to investigate there, it's either rainy weather, the boat tours are canceled because of rough seas, or we just can't get out there because of our schedules. So hopefully soon we can get out there.
That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I'll try to get out more. But...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're getting there. We moved, and then I had knee replacement surgery, so a lot was put on hold.
All right.
But now I'm back and fully functional and looking forward to getting out there more often.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get one for the end of the year. I'm really happy or not. I have to find out if the other investigator wants to go somewhere. But I'm anxious for a book thought. I love lighthouses, and it's like I said, me and my wife used to go all the time.
Yep.
We took a trip up north there in England States and shit. A couple of It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're hoping. I've been working with Joe Frankie quite a bit, and he's the one who wrote the foreword. And we're actually in the process of trying to plan a tour where we go to different lighthouses, offer an educational class, and then do an investigation of the lighthouse.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Wow. So keep your fingers crossed that next year that we pull that off.
Yeah, and more investigations aren't there built.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Oh man! All right, good time left. Hey.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Oh yeah. We covered all of them. Do you want to, before end here, you want to give advice to somebody who's looking to get into the field?
The advice that I offer everybody, of course, is do your research. And that includes everything from, don't rely on these ghost shows to get your information. They're entertainment, but I am guilty. I watch the shows to kind of see how they investigate and kind of, tap it to make it more reality versus, entertainment. And you also want to investigate the people that you're working with. You want to make sure that you're with someone you trust, because we go to these dark places and we don't, don't know. And you also, if you decide to join a team, make sure you research to find that they're reputable. I've come across, just in the last 5 years, so many unreputable teams that either fake evidence, break the law to get into locations, or, they say they're going to help clients, but they do the investigation and then they never call the client back.
Right.
Just make sure you do your research from start to finish before you do anything, and ask, find a mentor. I'm always telling people, if you have questions, my Facebook Messenger and my email is open 24/7. I might not get to you for 24 to 48 hours, but you can message me at any time.
Right. And I don't want to give your information, how to contact you and everything.
You can find my website. It's heatherleighphd.com, or you can find me on Facebook at Heather Leigh. It's at Dr. Heather Leigh, Dr. Heather Leigh. And then I also host Exploring the Paranormal on Tuesday mornings, and you can find that page at Exploring the Paranormal Show.
And also, I'll have all her links in the comments after the show. You can check them out. Be available to watch on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. So,
yep.
Also for audio, we be on Spotify and Amazon.
Okay.
To listen to.
Yep, and I'll keep an eye out for those links, and I'll share them out as well too.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, ask real quick. I did ask you about your future coming up. We're investigating it. Yeah. Okay. All right. It was wonderful having you on tonight. I mean.
Oh, thank you. So glad I could be on.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Like I said, we'll get back to you. I'll definitely keep in touch, and after I get your book, I will. I'll read it in a day.
No. Yeah, just definitely let me know what you think of it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I will. I mean, yeah, it sounds great.
Perfect.
Well, again, thanks to Heather for joining us here tonight. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure having you on tonight, and I hope to get you back in the future.
Yep.
And
just let me know.
with more stories and to tell. I'm sure you're chock full of them, so we'll be yeah.
And I can talk for hours.
Yeah, me too. All right, well, take care of yourself, and next time, happy haunting, everybody.
Yeah. Have a good night.